Hello everybody, it's Jen. Welcome to 5 cards using 1 stamp set and 1 paper pad. So I'm using My Favorite Things, Beast Friends, and Chamel's Christmas Magic to make 5 very plain and simple, easy cards to mail. So I'm just going to turn on some music here while I color. If you don't want to see the coloring, you can skip forward to just after 3 minutes. And I will come back and talk you through the process of creating the cards. So enjoy. Now that I have these cute little guys colored up, I'm going to start card number 1. I cut the tag out of the cut apart sheet in the paper pad, and then I used a stitched circle die from Simon Says Stamp, and this one is going to be really plain and simple. I went back to the first image that I colored, and I love this little one holding the mug, but because I picked the paper with the presents, I wanted to cut out the one of the presents that I colored, and you'll see me put that on top of the mug. So this card, sorry, my settings got set back to default, and so the camera is gonna wiggle here. It's on steady shot, which is like the factory setting, and it follows your hands to keep everything steady, but when you're crafting, it follows the motion. So I realized after this card that it was doing that, so in less than a minute the problem will be fixed. But here I'm adhering the present, and then I'm using the put a bow on it from Lawn Fawn. Decide I don't want the string on it, and I'm going to put the bow, and in the end I end up putting a flat bow on this instead. So I'm going to rip this up, and you'll be able to see that in the final photos, but it does not stay like that. Card number 2 is using 3 of the different papers from the paper pad, and I'm just cutting out the inside because I thought that I might want to use it. So no sense in wasting paper. And then I'm just going to layer a bunch of the papers. So I've used the Lawn Fawn stitch rectangle dies for all of the layers. Love this little snow flake one. And I wanted a little bit of the blue so that it matches the little beast's, the little Yeti's face. And then this is another cut apart from the collection. So as you can see, using cut aparts in your 6x6 pads makes card making very easy. So there's this little guy. I kind of wanted them to be the star of the show because they're just so adorable. And I'm going to leave this one with the mug, just using my Spectrum Noir glitter brush pen here to add some sparkle, and then black gel pen to bring the eyes out, and a white gel pen for his little teeth there. So adorable. So on to card number 3. I think this one is probably my favorite. A little bit more labor intensive, but still a very clean and simple, easy card. So I'm just using the stitched rectangle die and a stitched circle die to make the front panel of my card. And then I used some paper again in order to have a backdrop for the little Yeti that I'm going to put on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use foam adhesive on the back of this panel so that it is elevated off the card. And then I will adhere the images down. So I wanted the little presents behind the Yeti just to give him a little bit more interest with his adorable Christmas lights hanging all over him. And I'm going to also pop him up so that he is level with the card panel. After that, I'm going to work on the sentiment, and I'm just using a plain piece of blue cardstock just from my stash. I'm going to stamp the Are You Yeti for Christmas in VersaFine ink. I like to use black ink with clear embossing powder when I have black sentiments. So I'm going to heat emboss that, and then I'm going to cut it out, and I'm going to make my own little fishtail banner here once I get it cut out. So all of these images were colored using distress markers. I absolutely love using distress markers. I find it just a very simple way to color. It's very easy. So if you're looking to try watercoloring and you want something that is a little forgiving, I would recommend distress markers and distress inks for sure. I'd have to say they're probably one of my favorite types of watercolor. So I'm just going to adhere that right down to the panel. I didn't want any more adhesive. And then I'm going to use some glossy accents on all of the lights so that they are glistening just like a real set of Christmas lights would. And I'm probably going to get out my gel pen and do the eyes, and I've done that off camera, seeing you've already seen me do it once. And now we're moving on to card 4. So again, I'm just cutting out the inside. I knew that I wanted to use this wood grain piece of paper for something else. Oftentimes I don't cut out the middles, but when I know that I want to use something again, I definitely will, just so that I can save as much paper as possible. So I'm using this adorable sentiment cut apart, All Is Bright. That was in the paper pad as well, and I just used a stitched rectangle die so that it would have the same stitch as the panels. So all of these panels are have stitching on them except for this wood grain one that backs on that sentiment. So that is going to be at the top of the card, and then I'm going to place my little Yeti on the bottom right hand of the card, and this time I'm using the little brown guy that I colored up. These images kill me every time I look at them. They're so cute. So on to card number 5. This card is using the leftovers of the light bulb paper that I used in card number 3. It goes so well with the image that I just really wanted to use it as much as possible. And I wanted to use as much as possible, so much that I'm actually going to die cut the center of this out so I can have the circle for something else. And then I'm going to inlay a plain piece of blue cardstock that I've used the stitch circle for as well. So I'm just going to put a block on that so that it adheres onto the paper. And there's the blue cardstock that I'm using. So again, I'm going to use the same sentiment as the other card. So going to stamp that, and then I'm going to use my clear embossing powder again. It turns out beautifully. I really can't recommend using the VersaFine enough. So just gonna get that so it turns and is all nice and shiny. And then I am going to use the Lawn Fawn stitch border dies, and I'm going to cut a scalloped border at the bottom of this, and this is going to go over top of where the two pieces of paper connect so that you can't tell. So it just makes it nice and clean and cohesive. So just using my Tombow Mono glue, which I've been using throughout these cards. And then that will be it for card number 5, besides putting this little image on, and I did use foam adhesive. I'm going to use the presents again, and they look almost like they aren't colored on screen, but that one there is green, and then the other one is red. The red one definitely looks more vibrant than the green. So I'm just going to show you all of the 5 cards, and then I have some close-ups. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I absolutely love this stamp set, and I just want to keep making cards. These cards are definitely for people who I know won't keep their Christmas card after the holidays, and so I'm okay with them going perhaps in the trash, but hopefully not. So thanks everybody. Have a great day. Bye.